Welcome to Jaron Lukas Live. This is the best show on the internet to learn about entrepreneurship and more. Thank you for joining me this first day of CES Las Vegas 2020. And with that, every year, people I think millions upon millions of people line up waiting to see what cool tech is going to come out, which leads me to my question. Is your startup, if you have one, taking advantage of all of the free publicity you could be getting this week during this major event where I believe it's something like 160,000 people come down into Las Vegas to check these coolest new gadgets that are coming out? I'm actually in Las Vegas right now myself. I'm going to be heading down to CES on Wednesday. And what I can tell you is that having run several startups myself, as well as having secured lots of publicity in places like TechCrunch, Mashable, pretty much like Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Bloomberg, list goes on and on. I want to share some of what I've learned over the past decade being an entrepreneur and how you can apply free PR, this ability to get free PR for your company during events like this, which you may or may not be doing. But what I can tell you is that almost no startups are doing this right now. So thank you for joining. This is a live stream, by the way. So if you're catching the live version of this show, hit me up in the chat and let's, I'm here to answer any questions you have, or if you have any comments about strategies you've seen, or you just think that a certain gadget is cool, let me know. So moving on, there are several sites that are covering this event right now. And one of them being Wired. We're going to go through a few different publications that are really popular this time of year. And so we got Wired, we have GeekWire, and then we have TechCrunch. And these are just a few of the, I think, major publications that are covering this event right now. So we're going to go just through a little bit of what's going on there. And then in a few minutes here, we're just going to go step by step onto what you can be doing as an entrepreneur, who you should be reaching out to, what you should be telling reporters, and how you can get free publicity for your company. So moving on, we have this Wired article that is, I apologize, a little bit cut off on your screen, but it's a CES live blog day one, smart pillows, rotating TVs, and more. This has been changing all day. I've been covering it, basically like going over this article again and again today, just seeing what is being talked about. And a few really cool things have come up already. So this is actually the coolest thing that I've seen at CES yet this year. And it's actually something I've been hoping would come out for a long time now. I've been thinking about this idea for many years. And what it is an AI sunblock. So it intelligently figures out where the sun is, where your eyes are, and then it blocks out different little pixels. And I think that they make a funny little joke in here. They say, luckily for us, AI is vastly overhyped. That part is less funny and just more like it means that like not everyone's job is going to go away, at least tomorrow. But what it says is, it's clever enough to garner a company a CES Innovation Award, but it's also a problem that can be solved with a $20 trucker hat. I thought that was pretty funny. So, this is pretty much the coolest thing I've seen at CES so far this year. And we're just going to go over a few of these like really cool things that I'm seeing real quick, and then actually dive into the most important part of this, which is going to be how you can apply this to your own startup. So, this one, a snore stopping pillow. That's freaking awesome. I actually just got back from a bachelor party in Germany. Actually, not just got back. Time's kind of going pretty quickly, but I went to Munich for Oktoberfest this year. And a bunch of friends of mine from like my childhood, we all stayed in a hostel room together. 3 of my friends have really bad snoring problems, and we've collectively decided that we can't travel with them anymore. But were they to get a pillow like this that stopped them from snoring, maybe we could be friends again. So another really cool thing that came out, and what's interesting about this one is, a lot of times I think one of the biggest complaints I hear from entrepreneurs who look at trying to get PR during CES is the fact that it tends to be, let's look at this first one. This AI powered sun visor is from Bosch. That's a major corporation. They have, they have some advantages when it comes to national PR and publicity. But this company right here, like, this proves that if you have something cool enough and useful enough, that you can get publicity across the internet for what you're doing. And this is a week where we're going to see one of the biggest search terms this week is going to be CES. So if you're able to get an article like this, like, you might make 7 figures this week or more. So, very, very interesting here. I thought this one was really stupid. So this one, the TV twister, proves that literally anyone can get into the press this year. I say that half jokingly, but the TV twister is pretty much like something I would expect to see on Amazon for like $20. Basically what it lets you do is just rotate your TV. So to me, that's not that cool, but it just shows you again, like, if you have a certain type of gadget, this is going to be less for for software startups in this episode. Like, if you have a SaaS company, definitely stay tuned and tell me what you're working on. But if you have a physical product, hardware, or, you usually, of course, at CES, it tends to be like more tech based, but this pillow is not. That guy looks so comfortable on this pillow, by the way. Best photo for that company ever. So yeah, it's a lot of different types of tech gadgets. This one is a little less sexy, but it is really cool because it's a $50 product that is a smart water detector, and it allows you to make sure that you're not wasting water. And I just checked out my water bill. It's really high this month. So I might be looking into one of these. This is from the company Flow. And, again, like, we have Chromebook Live, that's a little bit bigger partnership. So you're starting to get a sense for what kind of stuff is making it to the news this year. These cute little robots are supposed to replace dogs. I think for a certain kind of person, that's just the right thing. So it's really, really one thing we're going to get to later out is how do you stand out? And I want you to be thinking about that now as you're looking at how you would do any PR for your startup. That's like one of the, I think, major things that tends to be on the top of someone's mind if they're thinking about getting publicity for their company. It's really how do you stand out? I mean, this is another guy with a companion dog. Actually, it's the same one, but he's just holding it. This one I gotta talk a little bit of smack about. The Muse device. Now, I was actually one of the first people to contribute to Muse's original Kickstarter. That must have been like 8 years ago. And they took forever to build it. It wasn't going to be a meditation device. It was supposed to be more like, how can I control my phone from a headset? Obviously, that turned out to be a lot more difficult for them than they thought. But if you watch this channel, you know that I meditate for an hour a day. And I know a lot about meditation. And so what my personal thing about this is that, like, when you really start to practice transcendental meditation, especially, you start to learn that, like, meditation is all about learning how to remove your thoughts, learning how to attain a level of freedom. And while I think a device like this, if it could find you having thoughts, it might be able to nudge you a little bit. That might be kind of interesting. I think it's actually going to be a distraction to reaching those deepest states of consciousness. So anyway, we have several more, like a lot of dog stuff this year, which is interesting to me because my friends and I are starting a pet food company. This before we really get into kind of the step-by-step of what you should be doing, this Pix backpack is awesome. I kind of want one. And if I were in high school right now, you can bet that I would be buying this. So it's $259 Pix backpack. And this is one of the coolest things that both the media and I have found at CES this year. These aren't the only articles that I've read through today. So let's move on now to what you can be doing in order to successfully get coverage during CES, during other weeks where there are major conferences. Really, this is about how do we get coverage in a competitive environment for our startups. So the first thing that I want to go into, and by the way, like I said before, I've gotten coverage for myself and friends' companies and in almost every tech publication, all of the major US publications, plus the Financial Times, plus go on and on. And so this is something that I've been very successful at in my own career. And the number one thing it comes down to is having something unique to talk about that is newsworthy, and B, actually doing the work to get out there and contact reporters in the right way. So those are the things that we're going to talk about. It's be unique, and that's kind of confusing. I said B, but okay. So 1, be unique, and 2, contact reporters in the right way. So let's get rid of this thing. So having word technical difficulties here. So really, this is like key right here. I'm even going to zoom in on it more so that we can really emphasize these 2 points. So 1, be unique. Here's the thing is a lot of people think that their tech company is unique when really they haven't thought of things from the point of view of a reporter. So maybe you just came out with trying to think of a good example here. Maybe you just came out with a really cool special high-tech pen or microphone. And let's stick out with microphone because I think that's actually going to be kind of like an interesting mental exercise. So, you just created a microphone brand, and your microphone has this little thing that's really cool. Like it makes it really easy to stream with for podcasters. And so, you're super excited about it, and then you go and contact a reporter and they don't reply. What happened there? Well, this is what happens for most startup companies, by the way, is they contact reporter, they think that what they're doing is really, really cool, and maybe it is, but they haven't communicated it first in a way that is going to capture their interests. So like the question to be thinking about when it comes to unique, and by the way, for any of you who are watching this live stream right now, thank you so much. Hit me up in the comments and let me know what you think about all of this, including what the coolest thing that you've seen at CES so far is. So, coming back to being unique, I think this is really the key to all marketing. So my insight for you today is really the same insight that goes along with all sales and marketing, which is, figure something out that people are you could almost read a headline about it, and you yourself, not knowing your company, not knowing you, think that's really cool. And this is somewhere where visualization is really helpful. One of my visualization practices I do, and by the way, if you watch the channel, you've probably heard me talk about visualization. If you haven't, I definitely have a link to my course. Hopefully I have a link to my ebook though. I have 2 ebooks out right now. One is called Growing with MarketScience, which also mentions visualization. That one's really about creating and testing growth strategies on a budget, getting product market fit. And then my original ebook actually is called The Secret to Visualization. And that really outlines something that I'm finding to be very helpful as a startup entrepreneur, because instead of like just trying to work and guess, I'm really putting myself in the shoes of someone who might buy my product more. And that's really me saying, like, for instance, with my pet food company right now, like I'm going so far as to visualize myself as a dog. That's how far I'm taking visualization on these things. But I'm saying, like, if I were a dog, how would I want to eat food? And so this is something that you can do with any product, including yours if you have a company or you're thinking about starting a company. And you can bring this beyond the product and actually into the kind of PR you want to see about your company. And this is a really interesting skill to practice, because you can actually start looking at what is it that would capture my eye if I were a reporter, or if I were a reader. Like, would I be sharing this? How interesting is this concept? And so you can actually create the headline itself and then bring that into your company. So you can do that during CES, with this microphone company. Maybe you have a big partnership announcement, or maybe you have a brand new product that you're going to announce there, and you want to let the reporters know in advance that you're going to be at CES. Please stop by. Those are all different things that you can be saying to reporters that really do work. So definitely try that out. And if you do, real quick. So I was thinking about this earlier. My challenge to you today is to reach out to reporters and get publicity for your company. So my challenge is reach out to as many reporters as it takes to get a yes response. And then let me know in the comments when you've had that yes response and what happened. And this is something that I just think is so underutilized. So many companies are focused on what's the latest marketing strategy on Facebook ads? What's the latest sales funnel I can create? And sometimes it's just as simple as creating a new PR campaign for your company. And no matter what, PR isn't always the best way to get sales. Both from my experience and pretty much every entrepreneur I've talked to, you get your article in Forbes, which you can pay $2,000 for, by the way. So all this stuff that I'm saying is all about getting free PR, but you can also just pay someone who's a writer at Forbes $2,000 and get get whatever article you want posted there. So keep that in mind, because what I'm talking about here, being unique, what's the title? Like, what would you envision being a title for an article that you publish? Huge announcement about your company. Think about what that looks like and what you want it to say, because these are things that you can then post on your website, and you can actually do a retargeting campaign where you retarget someone with a Forbes article about you. There are all sorts of ways that you can actually maybe not get the direct traffic from PR a lot of times, but you can use it to build momentum around a prospective customer so that they buy. So, and then we have these, so that's really covering this idea of be unique. The second idea is contact reporters in a unique way. So when thinking about contacting reporters in a unique way, this really comes down to, first off, if you Google how to contact reporters, you're going to find some articles that give you templates. And it's safe to assume that every reporter for every publication has received that same template at least 1,000 times already. So if you want to know if that's going to work, the answer is no. But it may give you an idea of like some inspiration for what might work. Now, a couple of things that I have to say here are, one, keep your initial email to a reporter, if you don't know them already, to 3 sentences max. So the question is not, how can I get them? How can I not sell them on coming to my booth or doing an article about me? your first email to anyone is always, I just need a response. So the question is, how do I get a response? Now, when you do campaigns like this, one piece of software that I recommend that I'll pull up real quick here is called Lemlist. And this is the one that I've been using. No, I'm unfortunately not paid by them. Although if Lemlist, if you want to sponsor me, hit me up. But what Lemlist is great for is it's great for entrepreneurs who want to send these different campaigns. Like you want to automate your outbound. So what I do is anytime I have a group of people who I want to reach out to, I have an assistant in Ukraine who specializes in lead generation. And that person then feeds me, this person is extremely good at what they do, and they find exactly the type of people I'm trying to find. Then they give me the names, the emails. If I want to include, for instance, one thing I've been doing is actually for PR writers. You can see I have 72% open rate, 31% replied. And what I'm doing here, I actually have a long list that I still need to put into this system. And really what I'm doing here is so simple. It's, hey, actually I don't even say, hey, I just put a quote from their sentence, and then I'll say a sentence within that's I agree for this reason. And what that does is it adds a lot of personalization, and then it just says, love this article you wrote. And then I put a link to it to kind of show that I actually went to it, that this isn't just a spam email. And something like that is a great way to build relationships in advance with people. So that's really what this campaign's all about, is building relationships with people who are getting different articles published and the like. So you could run a campaign exactly like this. For your campaign, if you're actually trying to get published, I mean, I actually think that it's never too early to start. So given that fact, I want you to just kind of remember that even if you have nothing to say to them today, you can still send, just like I'm doing, an email to kind of build that relationship, so that when you do contact them later, it's gonna be a little bit warmer relationship, and they're gonna say yes more often. If you don't have that kind of time, or you have something today, you just want to figure out the best 3 sentences, and you want it to pique their interest. So you're not trying, and remember, you're just trying to get a reply. So that's kind of the rule of thumb there. If you have any questions about that, feel free to shoot me an email at success@jaronlukas.com. You can find that email address below as well in the description. And I'm happy to just give you my thoughts on any sort of outbound emails you're sending. The fact of the matter is here that contacting reporters in the right way is clearly the most important step to getting your article published in the news, because you have to get that first response. Now, let's say that you've contacted reporters the right way. Now you really need to sell them on, this is my unique headline. And if you can do that, what I recommend is actually finding a lot of the mid-tier and maybe even some of the smaller blogs and tech publications out there that might be interested in covering it, as well as YouTube channels. So if you can find a YouTube channel, and we'll kind of add that as number 3, it's more like, who are you targeting? And, so it's start with smaller and mid-tier news sites and blogs. So, if you do that, that's really going to help you. It's going to give you a better chance of a yes. And one thing you can do is if you get some early, let's say on last week when companies started reporting about CES, these are the top things that we're looking forward to. Let's say you could get a small or mid-sized blog or YouTube channel to cover you there. Then you could send that to the larger publications. So that gives you the social proof you need in order to make it easier to be successful with the larger publications. There are countless ways to go about this, I must say. And actually that's a good thing for you. So, really stay away from the templates, learn from them, see what's out there, but focus more on being yourself, be unique, be interesting. Take yourself out of your shoes and forget who you are, because like we all as entrepreneurs have a tendency, especially newer entrepreneurs, have a tendency to think that they're the center of the world. Maybe you've gotten a little bit of press already. Oh, everyone must know about you now, and everyone cares about your company. And no, false. I've been there myself, so I totally understand why that happens so often. But the more that I think one of the most important skills that we can develop as an entrepreneur is really to kind of let go of our ego, and not only start to let go of an ego from a standpoint of just like being a more helpful, less selfish, less self-serving person, moving into helping others. Letting go of the ego for that reason. Number 2, letting go of the ego for marketing purposes, so that you can kind of understand what your message is, how it's going to come across from a more neutral perspective. So that is how to get coverage at CES in 2020 and beyond. This can be used for any sort of press coverage, any time of the year. There are lots of conferences throughout the year. So one other tactic is, the bigger you are, the bigger conference you're probably going to try to get press coverage during. So if you're kind of like a startup or mid-stage startup, let's say that you've raised less than 5 million, shoot for the mid and lower tier conferences to start in your industry, and try to get PR during them. If you're doing something interesting, being unique, then you're going to have success with reporters. They're going to cover your announcements. And that for me went a long way in my first startup, CoinSetter, and I know it'll help you a lot too. Highly underutilized strategy right here. So thank you so much for joining. If you are not catching the live stream, if you're catching this, well, first of all, if you are catching the live stream, thank you. You rock. Make sure that you have hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future live streams. And I would love to get you chatting during these episodes more. That's what this year on my show is all about. As you know, we've moved to live stream on this channel. And for those of you who are new here, maybe you just went to CES or you're just checking stuff out on the internet, thanks for sticking through this video. At this point, you might as well like and subscribe this video. We are covering topics that help people create a business using my experience in building companies, as well as advising different companies that have now reached 100 million in sales. So this will be really helpful to you if you are an entrepreneur and you're trying to be successful more easily in a more fulfilling way. So thanks so much. And make sure that you actually catch a couple episodes. Go into my profile. A couple episodes ago, I did a video about sending outbound sales email, and seeing as how this episode really went in that direction, I think that'll really be helpful for you too. Thank you so much for joining, and until tomorrow, where we'll be live streaming about CES again, actually. Take care, and bye-bye now.